What is good, YouTube? Quinway basketball analysis coming to y'all with that instant analysis from analysisplayground.com and the basketball analysis channel. Adrian has reported that Eric Bledsoe will be headed back, which I don't like this trade and I think is dumb. Honestly, I'm going to say that out the gate. He'll be going back to the Clippers where it all started, in my personal opinion. And even though he was a role player with the Clippers, they will be trading a point guards, Patrick Beverley, Rajon Rondo, and Daniel, who was a rookie, all for Eric Bledsoe just to make the salaries work. And even though I really don't like this trade, as Eric Bledsoe, everywhere he has went outside of Phoenix, the teams had a ceiling with him. They only got so far. They only got to a certain level with him as their point guard. Even though he's not a terrible point guard, he's not one of the worst point guards. And he still is a great defensive point guard, even though he had a disappointing season with the Pelicans. Eric Bledsoe is not the answer for you as a starter. He just not. He's going to play hard. He's going to do what you need him to do. But offensively, he has never been able to put it together. He has never been able to figure it out. He just hasn't. And he still disappears in big games and playoff games. And when you get rid of Rondo, who really didn't fit that well either, people thought he was the missing ingredient. They need a playmaker. They need somebody to set the table, to make sure the ball is moving, to find the holes in the defense, take some of the playmaking ability off of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who all had some huge playmaking years together. But Rondo was supposed to finish that offense off, and he never got going, never was able to put his label and stake into this team. And Patrick Beverley has been kind of every once in a while, he's been injured and banged up, which is unfortunate because he was one of the positive things about the Clippers is they got Beverley. They got Beverley, a guy that's going to play hard and defend, but also knock down threes. And he was huge in some of those games in the playoffs, hitting big timely threes and defending. And now they lose him in Rondo. And Daniel, he is an undersized big, not probably going to make it or have a significant role in the NBA because it just depends on his defense and his offense. I don't really look at him as being a great player in the league. He might be a rotation player at best, but he's still a raw prospect that has to develop a lot of his skills, and that's on both ends of the court. And that's why he didn't really see that much playing time and have a role on his team because he still is a project prospect. And usually, when you get a pick like him, that's where it's really going to be around there. Either you're getting a short thing or you're getting a thing that you have to polish up with a couple years. And Daniel, even though he will be leaving this team, he still has a bright future if he continues to work on his game and polish off his offensive and really become a guy that can defend and protect the rim. If not, he's just going to bounce around the league or be out of it. We don't know what he's going to be, honestly, but he looked in college and stuff like that like a guy that really can contribute, once the right pieces are around him and once his IQ and his skills get there. So he's far away from being a polished product, but he is a guy that can be something decent in the league. And he might not stay with the team he's currently on, obviously, but he still is a guy that has a little potential to be some type of impactful player at a high end on his level, but not there yet. But, I'm low on Bledsoe. I was a guy that felt like the Pelicans just should try to get rid of him, which they ended up doing just because he was just such a bad fit. Just literally such a bad fit for that team that he was a primary guy that took a lot of the blame and a primary guy that a lot of people was just trying to get him out of there. But the Bucks fans felt the same way. I live in Wisconsin, and I've been watching the Bucks, and Bledsoe was a part of that, bringing this team to that 60 number one record Bucks team that made it to the conference finals and was up 2-0 in the conference finals. But he was a big reason why they failed, just because he was such a non-threat offensively, and he became a weak point to help the walls be built on Giannis just because you didn't fear him at all offensively, and he didn't have the mid-range game, and he wasn't finishing around the basket, and it was kind of like, what do we really need you out here for if you're not going to be able to contribute offensively, especially when you're making it tougher on Middleton and on Giannis, and that's why. When Brogdon left, they thought that he would be the perfect piece, but he only got them so far. And even though you can make an argument that he did make them better, which he did, but he only gave them enough and a ceiling that they could reach. And eventually they got rid of him and won the title once they got Eric Bledsoe. I mean Drew Holiday, and he was the guy that they really needed. And he proved that a lot of the times with his defense being better, longer, and can cover more ground, and also being a better playmaker than Eric Bledsoe while also being a better scorer. And he had games where he didn't score well or shoot well either, but his defense was just so impactful. And he was able to play make at a high level. And Drew Holiday wasn't really always known for his playmaking ability. It was more or less for his two-way ability. And even though it wasn't at the highest consistent level offensively, those two things combined was more of a difference than what Eric Bledsoe was making. He goes to the Pelicans, and the first thing they're trying to do is get rid of him in his first season with them. And that's just not the type of guy that you want to be excited about bringing in if you're the Clippers. And then it all does come down to, would you rather have Rondo and Beverley or Bledsoe? And if I had to be honest, I'd rather have Rondo and Beverley than Bledsoe, as I feel like Rondo didn't have the perfect fit. But this is a different team now that Kawhi Leonard might not be playing, and you changed a lot of your players again this year, bringing in the Justice Winslows, bringing in guys like Keon Johnson. I can go on and on and on for these wings and these guard position because you have no Kawhi probably for the entire year, and you're going to need somebody that can help out Paul George offensively, which I don't believe the guys that they brought in can do that, just because a lot of these guys are raw and don't really have developed skills either. So you will need more veterans that can help you make a playoff push to really help that. And I think Rondo and Beverly might be used more since you don't have the ball in Kawhi Leonard's hands as much because he's not going to be there at all. So maybe Rondo and Beverly will be better fits because they can space the floor better than Bledsoe. Plus, Beverly, to me, is on the same level defensively when he's healthy. Plus, he actually gives you the space and then a guy that doesn't need the ball at all. While Rondo is a significantly better playmaker and rebounder than Bledsoe, but he also can hit threes and he also has been letting them fly more efficiently, especially on spot ups, than Bledsoe. So honestly, I probably would have rather kept those three players than get Eric Bledsoe, but that's just the reality of what Eric Bledsoe has been the last couple years in his career. He has been the guy that you're trying to upgrade, the guy that you're trying to get rid of because he just couldn't figure it out. And I just don't know what he's going to bring to this team because I feel like whatever Eric Bledsoe brings, Rondo and Beverly can do it better, or them together will be better than one player, which will be Bledsoe. So if I'm a Clippers fan, I don't really know what to feel about it. I'm not, really excited about this trade, and honestly, I probably rather never made it unless it's for money purposes. But even then, you still want to be able to be a playoff team if you're the Clippers. Just because Kawhi Leonard out, when you look at this roster and you look at the coach that they still have enough to be at least a playoff team in the Western Conference, even if Kawhi Leonard misses the entire season. And I feel like having those two guys probably would have helped better than having Bledsoe come back to the Clippers. And even when Bledsoe was with the Clippers, he showed a lot of potential. He showed that he can really be a special player potential-wise. But as we have seen, he never became that all-star player. He got to a point where he could be with the Suns, but never really got over that hump and became one, and only fell down and down and down since then. And this is pretty much the low point of his career. And now is really a make or break season for Bledsoe because a lot of us have damaged views of Eric Bledsoe at this point, and it's just not a good look for him. Maybe you get a motivated Bledsoe. Maybe they can utilize him better because of their system, because of how they play, and because of their style. Or maybe Bledsoe knows what everybody's been saying and everybody's been feeling, and maybe he's been working a lot harder. We don't know. I'm just going based off what I have seen and based off his fits the last couple of teams in his role. And Bledsoe has been consistently one of the biggest problems why those teams haven't lived up to their potential. And I don't really think that's going to be changing that much with the Clippers. But then again, we still have to give him a fair chance, and we still have to see what he can do. And this could really be a make or break career point for Eric Bledsoe. And honestly, I don't wish him to fail. I don't want him to fail. And I'm not a Clippers fan, but at the same time, this is what Eric Bledsoe has left us with. We don't know. He hasn't been good. And that's just the reality of it. But other than that, if I'm a Clippers fan, I'm not too happy, not going crazy about this trade. And honestly, I'd probably rather have Rondo and Beverley than Bledsoe, just to be honest. But, the deal is done. So now we just have to see the results and see what he does and just live with him at this point if you're a Clipper fan in the organization. But at least you get the all NBA defensive caliber defender. And the point guard position is the deepest and the hardest position. And you want somebody that can contain it or give you that defensive stop. And I feel like Beverly can do it, but also Bledsoe can do it. So that's going to be there. But offensively, he has just been hugely disappointing. And, we just have to see what that change with a new team and a new coaching staff with them. So, at least the team believe in him. At least the team still wants him. And that's a good start for Bledsoe. Now we just have to wait and see what happens with him, going to the Clippers. But I'm not happy about it. I'm not going crazy about it. And honestly, I wouldn't did this. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Is it good? Is it bad? Do it make sense? Do it don't make sense? And should they even have done it? Other than that, Quinn Wade, basketball analysis, I'm gone. And hopefully I'll see y'all on Monday.